It's Friday, the 12th of April, and the time is 8:51 p.m. My name is Dingane Lutuli, and if the date was not one count off, I would simply not be here. Not that I'm a particularly superstitious person, but considering recent events, I feel like I should not be tempting fate. I would have done this session earlier, but my roommate's partner was coming over for dinner for the first time, so obviously I had to help with the cooking. All love, but if I didn't intervene, we would have just been having takeaways. It's also one of those situations where you're anticipating something, so your entire day gets split into before the something and after the something. You can't get anything else done until you're in the after. Or maybe you don't have that because your brain is well adjusted or something. I don't know. Anyways, I'm not going to be reading any scary stories from my dad's eerie collection because neither the spirit nor the body are willing tonight. Instead, I'm going to be inspecting some items that I found in the box. I was doing some arranging after the last entry. Speaking of which, I did in fact get that tall, narrow bookshelf I was half joking about. I put it in the corner of my room where I keep the old guitar I don't play anymore, which now sits on top of the shelf. It's basically scraping the ceiling. It's not ideal, but as I was pushing around all of the literature, I found a smaller box inside the box. That's a whole other day's problem. As well as a number of interesting items. I'll be taking some pictures of them to add to this ever-growing multimedia record, but I'm also taking care to handle some of them gently in case they have some sort of, I don't know, historical importance. I'll figure out the best way to store them tomorrow. All right, item number 1, the bottle. Seems like the item I could cause the least damage to. It's a 2-liter cool drink bottle with a label that faded to white a long time ago, so it has to be fairly old. Nothing out of the ordinary about the bottle itself, but certainly about what's inside. It's about a quarter full with some kind of soil. The immediate image that comes to mind is something my parents would do when we were younger. They'd load us up in my father's old bucky with a dozen bottles just like this one and drive us to the beach where we'd use them to collect a bunch of seawater. It's supposed to have some sort of cleansing purposes. I'm not sure of the details. The downsides of being a city boy, I guess. From what I can see, though, it's definitely not sea sand at the bottom of this bottle. These particulates are much darker and more packed, definitely more earthen. I'll make a note to check with my mother if she has any insight. Next up, item number 2, the package. So, this is a rectangular box, about as wide and long as an A4 notebook, maybe twice as thick. It's covered in brown wrapping paper, but there's no name, address, label, no note of any kind on or attached to it. There's definitely something inside, though. Sounds much smaller than the size of the box. I feel like maybe it might be invasive to open this. But also, it was literally left to me. And it's not like my father's gonna come back and open it for himself, so I'm doing my best to preserve the packaging for the purposes of storage later, but we aren't really a gift-giving family, so this is not my forte. All right. I immediately regret opening this. That's dramatic. There seems to be a piece of jewelry contained here. And I guess finding that inside a nondescript paper package just inherently gives me bad vibes. But I'm going to overcome that irrational instinct and retrieve it so I can note its description. With a pair of tweezers, of course, for the sake of careful handling. See? Nothing to it. Okay, we're looking at a beaded piece of some kind. Looks like a bracelet based on the size. At first glance, I'd say the beads are made of colorful, hard plastic, but could easily be something else. They're threaded through with black string, but they're packed so tightly that you can only see the cord where it's tied off at the end. Oh, it's made to be adjustable. That's nice. Beadwork is pretty common in Zulu culture. It's actually more commercial these days. I believe culturally the colors used in a piece are sometimes significant. These beads have a pattern of triangles. They're interchanging in hues of black, white, and green, but I have no idea what the importance there would be. Pretty though. Maybe my mother made it for my father, like the woman who was getting married in that one story. Or maybe it's from an old flame. Why would he then keep it this long in a secret stash in a secret storage facility? Not a can of worms I want to open. Moving on to item number 3, which is one I'm genuinely concerned about handling because it may very well be a relic. This is, at first glance, a very large knife. The wooden handle, at least, looks like one you'd see on a knife. One of those enormous carving ones they sell in infomercials, where they slice something that's not food to prove how sharp it is. Anyway, the blade itself is not like a knife at all. It's got 2 sharp edges, and it tapers to a point. It's a little larger than my forearm, maybe 35 centimeters long, 10 to 12 at the widest. If I had to guess, this was probably a tip taken from a spear. Umkhonto, or maybe itlwa, to be specific. I'm no blacksmith, but it looks like the socket at the base, which would normally fit onto a spear shaft, was flattened out so that this more knife-like handle could be attached to it. This thing is clearly older, shows signs of use, but otherwise it's in good condition. The blade is strong, the handle's firm. Well, the handle's probably younger than the blade, so firm at least for now. But I have no idea what this would be used for. I mean, obviously I know spears are used for war, but I can't imagine why a warrior would take apart their spear to make this. Not to mention, there haven't been warriors going to war in over 100 years, so usually when you've got a spear, it's for ceremonial purposes, maybe a family heirloom. Which brings me to the question of why my father would have this in his possession. My paternal side of the family, have been pretty disconnected from our extended family for a good while now. My father never explicitly told us why, but as we got older, we figured there must have been some bad blood, however many generations ago. We have some cultural knowledge and beliefs from my mother's side and from social osmosis, but we don't really observe any customs or practices. Maybe this is a keepsake from before we broke off the family tree, passed down the line? Why keep it stashed away? In any case, those are the items. I'll probably leave them in the box, wrap the blade in some cloth until I can look up how to preserve mysterious makeshift spear knives. Oh, there was one other thing. A note I found tucked between the stuff at the bottom of the box. I was going to put it with the rest of the loose pages, but the words caught my attention. It's a single line, written in quick block letters, and it reads, "Found these a few days ago. Might be what you're looking for. S." I don't know if it's related to these items. It wasn't attached to them or anything, so it could easily have just fallen to the bottom of the box during transit. I also have no idea who S could be. Another mystery for the list, I guess. Call to the Dark, created by Sandile Dlamini. Featuring Dingane, voiced by Sandile Dlamini. To keep up with the show, visit @CallDarkPod on social media or email calldarkpod@gmail.com.